from the City of Presidents. It's the All About Quincy podcast. This is your host, John Melly. Join me as we explore the history, hidden gems, and highlight the businesses with great stories that all tell the tale why Quincy, Massachusetts is a great place to live. Hey, it's John. How are you? Thanks for joining me today for this episode of the All About Quincy podcast, home of Community Values Advertising magazines. We publish magazines for Quincy and Milton, another one for Braintree and Weymouth, and a third for Cohasset, Hingham, Hull, and Scituate. We mail to 67,000 homes across those 8 communities, and you should have got one in your mail about a week and a half ago. And if you haven't, fear not, I am going to take care of you. If you haven't gotten it, let us know, but you can go to allaboutquincypodcast.com and you can see flipbooks online where you can go and get access to the coupons and offers in these magazines, and heaven forbid you threw your issue away. There are hundreds of dollars worth of savings and coupons and great vendors, local businesses that we want to support here on the All About Quincy podcast. My guest today is one of those advertisers. Her name is Alexa Cushing. She's the co-owner of Panopticon Imaging in Rockland, and we're going to be talking about photo restoration. And I said to Alexa, you know what? There are a lot of folks who have family pictures that go back a long time, and some of those pictures have been damaged by water, sunlight, torn, got stuck to the inside of the photo album, and then when you peeled it out, it just pulled all the things apart. This is an exciting show because she's got some pretty interesting things at Panopticon Imaging that can fix that. And I want you to go and listen to this episode. And then I want you to go to the Community Values Advertising magazine, where you can go and save $10 off any photo service of $50 or more, $25 off any photo service of $100 or more, or $10 off $100 or more off of framing. Pretty cool. It's pretty amazing what they can do there at Panopticon. And you know what? I'm a little bit of a troublemaker. I was thinking after my conversation that Alexa's name is Alexa, and that's the thing for the Amazon doohickey that listens to everything in your house. So what if I said, Alexa, go to panopticonimaging.com? What if I said that? Would it actually say, going to panopticonimaging.com? Let's try it. Alexa, go to panopticonimaging.com. All right, I'm a troublemaker. You can yell at me later. Let's get to my conversation with Alexa Cushing. Welcome back. As I said at the beginning of the show, my guest today is Alexa Cushing from Panopticon Imaging in Rockland. And I met Alexa as we were talking about Community Values magazine. You're an advertiser in the magazine. And you do photo restoration, film processing, photo printing, and you do custom matting and framing. And our listeners, they can't see in the background there, but you've got an amazing array of frame samples that literally run the gamut of color options. It's really impressive. So, Alexa, welcome to the All About Quincy podcast. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, happy to be here.
So you're the owner of Panopticon Imaging. Tell us your story. What was your background and how did you come to own Panopticon Imaging?
Yeah, so I own Panopticon Imaging with Connor Knoll. We both co-own the business. We were both photographers. We both studied photography at College of Mass Art and Design, and then both began working here under the previous owner, with our background in photography kind of guiding our way through everything. And then when the previous owner retired in the end of 2023, we took over.
Well, that's great. How's it been going for you?
It's been going great. We've been doing a lot of amazing work that we're proud of. We've been learning a lot, meeting a lot of great people. So can't complain.
We started talking when we were visiting your shop, and I started thinking about all of the folks. We're in Quincy, but we have a lot of families in Quincy that have been here for many, many years. It's not just limited to those folks, but anybody. You do photo restoration, and your ad is very interesting. There's a picture of a before and an after, and I think I'll put a copy of that on the show notes for this episode. We'll promote your ad in our show notes as well. But there's a picture of a before and an after, and the before picture is a picture torn in 3 pieces, and then you restore it and make it look as good as new, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of folks who probably have pictures of loved ones. I know I have a picture of my grandfather sitting next to my mom that kind of probably had some water damage done to
Mhm.
it. And I was just thinking about it. I was like, "But I don't know if you can restore stuff like that, or it'd be probably depend on the amount of damage. But I'm sure that there are people who have pictures and films and all kinds of things of loved ones that probably aren't in the best of condition, or maybe they want to get them transferred to some digital platform. Is that stuff you can do?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we kind of handle all different types of damage and restoration and printing. We've had some pretty heavily damaged photos, water stain, fading. We've had photos that are just torn in several completely different pieces, and
Yeah.
we've been able to kind of bring them back together. So everything we do is digital as far as restoration goes, and we're really able to do a lot because of that. We're able to provide multiple prints if someone brings in the only copy of a loved one or family history that they have, resize things, prepare them to be framed, prepare them to be gifted, prepare them to be archived for future generations.
That's really cool. You were photography students?
Yep. So we're pretty dedicated to preserving photography, family history because of our backgrounds.
What got you interested in photography?
I think I can speak for both myself and for Connor. We both grew up as artists, just very interested in drawing, photographing, everything ever since we were kids, and just decided to pursue the photography route. And then from there, once I started really studying everything at school, I was really interested in the post production end of things, like the
Hmm.
retouching, the photo finishing, framing, printing, that end of everything. And that led me to Panopticon.
Oh, that's really cool. So you basically you like the capturing of the image, but then the drawing aspect, you get to apply that interest in the touching up and the restoration, I suppose.
Yeah.
And the
It's
use.
definitely, yeah, all interrelated.
That's really cool. How long have you been doing this?
So I've been working here since 2018. So that makes it
Yeah,
almost 6.5, 7 years.
7 years. Yeah, that's great. What's your favorite project to work on? What do you like to work on most?
I really love when we can help someone from start to finish. So there's a lot of times where we have clients come in and they just maybe have like a shoebox full of all different types of photos and family history and everything. And
Yeah.
then we can sort of help them make sense of that and have them preserved in a way that they can pass it on to future generations. So we'll take negatives, we'll take damaged photos, we'll digitize everything, we'll work out the best way to restore them, repair them, make them beautiful, print them, and then we move on to framing, and we can really determine the best way to make them look as beautiful as possible when they're hanging up on the wall.
Do you ever do like a family tree kind of a layout, matting and all that kind of stuff? I imagine it'd be kind of cool to be able to get pictures of. So I have pictures of my great grandparents, not all of them, but most of them, and then grandparents, and then my parents, and then there's my generation, and then there are the nieces and nephews and all. Have you ever done anything kind of like that, like a family tree?
We've definitely done pretty creative matting and framing techniques where we can show multiple photos, multiple generations, everything in frames. So we've definitely experimented with a little bit of everything.
What's the most damaged item that you were able to successfully work with? Do you have a story?
There was a photo that comes to mind pretty recently, and I feel like it's sort of something that maybe a lot of people might have experienced because it's from very early. We really handle all types of old photos, but this is sort of like early 2000s, so truly not that old, but
Yeah.
it's like an early digital print, and we're finding now that it's, been 25 years of that they're really like not holding up over the test of time. And this guy came in sort of panicking because he had a flood in his basement and he had a digital print that was water damaged to the point where the emulsion sort of just separated from the paper. So he brought us in, they were almost as thin as pieces of tissue paper, pieces of almost like ink that had removed itself from the paper.
Yeah.
And as he was bringing it in and taking it out of the envelope, it was just becoming more and more damaged, just showing me. And he's like, my mother's going to kill me if I don't figure this out. I need to get this fixed. So we kind of had one shot to fix it because even flipping it over to put it on the scanner to digitize it really was already damaging it. But they were probably 100 loose pieces that we were able to kind of like a puzzle kind of digitally
Yeah.
place together and make a new print for him to have. I think it was probably like a family photo of like 10 or 15 relatives. I think it was just rather important to his mother with relatives that have passed. And it was like the only photo of certain people. And I think a lot of the family members were from different countries. So it would be really difficult to recreate something like that for them.
Mm.
So it was a really nice moment to be able to give them a pretty much perfect reproduction of everything. We were really proud of that.
Much better place than when he brought it in. Uh,
Absolutely.
you're dealing with people's emotions because it's not just the picture
Yeah.
of the person, it's what all the memories that people have of that person and the experiences that they have of that person. And it could be a loved one that's still alive, but it could be at an event that you have really, really fond memories of and exciting things. So that's what these pictures mean to people. So it's really cool, the stuff that you do. I think I told you prior to our recording, and I've said it in other episodes, we used to own a stationery and greeting card shop. We did a lot of social printing. And so we would do wedding and invitations and then birth announcements and then baptisms and confirmations and all kinds of, the rites of passage of people's lives that they're, that experience, and that you get the documented versions of a lot of those things brought into your shop. So you really get to know your customers and learn their stories, I would imagine.
It's so true. Yeah. I always think that when we're getting maybe like a large group of photos for either like a funeral or a celebration of life ceremony or just
Mhm.
someone archiving their life, I feel like I do really know these people and it makes me care a lot more once I'm sort of flipping through hundreds of photos and watching this person from childhood to like age 75, 80. It's like kind of amazing. So I'm like, I feel like they're members of my family or I know them just because I've seen everything they've done and what their interests are. And I always kind of find that showing me the photos, like with a customer, it brings up a lot of conversation about the people in their life. And I always pretty thoroughly enjoy it. It's just sort of nice to be able to connect with people over their personal history and maybe like find things in common or relate. So I definitely enjoy that aspect of things.
People like to share their experiences with
Absolutely.
folks. That's really great. So it's rewarding in many ways for you.
Yeah.
So if there was one thing you wanted our listeners to know as a result of our conversation, what would it be?
I think the one thing that I would like the listeners to know is that we're really here to help from start to finish. We have a lot of people that come in and they've never printed anything, they've never framed anything, they don't even know where to start. And we're really big on helping people from start to finish. There's been a lot of times where we've helped design a whole gallery wall for someone's house with like 20 photos, layouts and framing and sizing and everything. We're here to walk people through how we can best restore photos, what they can expect, different papers, different presentation options, really everything. Like we like to guide people from start to finish.
So, like you mentioned, somebody coming in with a shoebox full. Like if somebody had a box full of old,
Old slides, 35 millimeter medium format film. We've even scanned glass plate negatives that people have. We've printed them in the dark room before. So anything still photography related, we can do it all.
I was just going through some shelves here, and behind me, there's a binder, or actually a photo album that I have had since college. I won't tell you how long ago that was, but that's become like the catch-all
Yep.
pictures. And sometimes like the pictures stick together,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to like gingerly peel them apart. If I wreck any of that, I know you can't make promises, but you can probably do a pretty good job of restoring stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. And that's something we see a lot. Someone's trying to take like a 4x6 print out of a frame and it's stuck to the glass with the New England humidity. We see that a lot. We have people call us when they're kind of in the midst of taking something out of the frame. And I usually say, leave it in and we'll scan through the glass. But we've had people that, again, like with humidity and water damage and just time, things get stuck together. And we have our different ways of either separating them or if they've already been separated and suffered some damage, we can really piece a lot back together. Sometimes I'm even impressed by what we're able to repair, and I'm very like happy and proud of it when I can repair something that honestly was just completely gone or not there. So
You're actually giving me a little hope. I've got this one picture of my grandfather that I think I'm going to bring by. And, yeah, I very, very fond of him. And I have a few pictures. There's one over here on the wall. But at any rate, it would be kind of cool. It's one of those things where you go, oh, darn it. I love that picture. Wow, bummer. So I think that's kind of exciting for people if they go, oh no, oh, that was Grand Aunt Tilly, and she used to make the best Boston cream pie or something, and now we're messed up her picture. I'm making this stuff up. I don't have a Grand Aunt Tilly. But I think that's really cool. So, if people want to learn more about Panopticon Imaging in Rockland, what's the best way for them to do that?
we have a pretty big list on our website of everything we can take care of for people, panopticonimaging.com. And I always welcome a phone call or I welcome a drop in visit because some questions are really specific and we can just talk about it better in person.
That's really cool. So we've talked a lot about old pictures and shoe boxes full of pictures and damaged pieces of photography, but we live in a new world where everything's digital. Everybody's taking pictures with their smartphones and cameras around their houses and everything. There's cameras everywhere, but people are taking selfies, etc. Do you deal with those too? Do you print those out?
Absolutely. Yeah. We think it's really important that photos don't just live on cell phones,
Yeah.
especially because our whole job is family memories that have been printed out for decades. So we know that it's really important to have things printed out to be passed on, to be enjoyed. So we can take photos from cell phones. Cell phones honestly take some really amazing photos nowadays. I've been very impressed by what we've been able to produce from cell phones. Anything from a camera, film negatives, all of that, anything that digital, we can print it out on all different types of paper, and our paper's archival, so it's not going to fade and discolor like some older papers would have, and we can make any kind of digital adjustments as well, and really make sure we're having a perfect print produced.
Earlier in our conversation, I was just thinking about how important it is, if something's that important to you, to work with a professional. And obviously, you've got the tools and the techniques and the knowledge and the skill to save a lot of these damaged photos and restore them, but also probably present, regardless of whether that they're old film or current digital,
Mhm.
present them in a way that makes them last. And I love what you said. The photos shouldn't just live on your phone. Because how many pictures have I mean, I've got thousands of pictures, and I obviously took those pictures for a reason,
Absolutely.
but
Yeah.
I go through them sometimes looking for one, thinking, I know I've got that on this one. My point being, it's if you really want the picture to come out looking as best as it can, it's probably going to require more than just shoving a piece of 8.5 by 11 copy paper in your color printer and printing it out.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do that.
Absolutely.
You can do that. But as you said, you've got what, archival paper?
Archival inkjet papers, we have.
What does that mean specifically?
So, in a lot of papers, there's brighteners and acids that over time eat away at the ink and information on the page, and it might fade or discolor. And that's why when you see like cheap 4x6 from CVS or something, years later, it may have turned different colors. It's not archival. And then that applies to framing as well. So, all the different mat boards we use are also archival. So, you're not going to get any yellowing over time, and you're not going to one day lift the mat board off the photo and see like a square where it was covered up or
Mm.
anything like that.
Yeah, I've
Uh,
seen that.
yeah. And then I mentioned earlier glass getting stuck to the print. So every time we frame something, if there's not a mat there, we add something called a spacer, and that separates the glass from the print, and that prevents any kind of sticking or anything breaking down over time. With there's airflow, there's nothing touching anything that shouldn't be. So all
Yeah.
kinds of measures in place to keep everything preserved as long as it can be.
When people ask me about stuff, I think of a time when somebody said to me years ago, he says, why don't you change your own oil for my car?
Yeah.
Why would I want to do that? Well, you could save money. And I'm, well, yeah, but it's going to take me all day to do that. I don't have the tools. It's not that I don't have the ability. I could figure it out. But it's like, I don't have the lift. I don't have a place to put the oil. I don't have, I don't have the time to do that. Whereas if I can go to somebody who does that all day, every day, who has the right tools, I'm going to be in and out of there in a half an hour. And in the long run, it's going to save me in time and money and hassle. So when people say, well, why can't you just do this yourself? I reflect back on that. There are some projects, do it yourself. If you're interested and you have fun doing it, by all means. But it just seems to me that it just makes sense to work with people who know what they're doing. And I just love talking to business owners that have a lot of different things. And when businesses offer things like this, and you can provide a service that is rewarding and satisfying on so many levels, that really touches people, and it means an awful lot to people. So I think that's great. And you like doing it, don't you? I can tell.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, super, super passionate about what I do. So it makes it really fun to work, honestly.
I suppose there's some projects that you have to keep pretty private too.
There can be, yeah. We work with a lot of different like historical societies and galleries and museums, different professional places that we don't exactly share.
What's the coolest picture that comes to mind right now?
We work with the Foundation for a Civil Rights Photographer who has passed. We work with his daughter, like managing his estate. And we just yesterday printed this really beautiful photo of Martin Luther King in his hotel room. Honestly, I think right before he was assassinated. And it's just this really impactful piece of history that we're able to keep alive and share with people before we're producing that to be passed on to a museum. So it's really nice to be able to share history with what we do.
Wow. You almost become somebody who can predict the future when you see a picture like that.
Yeah. Wow. And again, like with preserving people's family legacies and everything like that, it's just really important for us to feel as though we're educating people, whether it's on their grandparents and, family being passed down to different family members, but also being able to share photographic legacy with stuff like that. It's really awesome.
Well, Alexa, I want to thank you so much for being on the All About Quincy podcast. And if people want to reach out to you, let's let our listeners know the best ways for them to do that.
They can visit our website, and that's panopticonimaging.com. They can give us a call. Our number is 781-740-1300, or they can anytime, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, Saturdays 10 to 2, stop by our location. We're right on Union Street in Rockland. We're at 540 Union Street.
And you can also see them in the upcoming issue of Community Values magazine.
Yeah.
Right. Alexa, thanks so much for your time. It's been great talking to you.
Same to you. Thanks for having me.
Wasn't that fun? That's a cool interview and a cool service. And if you've got any family photos that you say, boy, I wish we could get that back to the way it was, why not take it to panopticonimaging.com? Or you can visit their shop at 540 Union Street in Rockland. Their email address is mail@panopticonimaging.com, and their phone number is 781-740-1300. That's it for this episode of the All About Quincy podcast. Remember, go to allaboutquincypodcast.com and check out the online versions of the Community Values advertising magazines for Quincy, Milton, Braintree, Weymouth, Cohasset, Hingham, Hull, and Scituate. Hundreds of dollars worth of savings right there. And I would be remiss and not doing my job if I didn't tell you a couple more things. One, if you're a business owner and you want to reach homeowners in 8 communities, 67,000 households, email me at john@allaboutquincypodcast.com. And if you've got an idea for a great guest or an event or anything else coming up, you want to promote your business, reach out to me at john@allaboutquincypodcast.com. We'd love to hear from you. If you've got something you think should be on the show, we want to know. Go to allaboutquincypodcast.com and hit the contact button and send us a message with your guest idea. That's all for now. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks for listening.